good morning, Victor.
Well, good morning, Ed.
Say hello to our residential sales force out there.
How's it going, guys?
These folks have been killing it for 6 months, man.
Have
Just
they?
blowing it away.
Are they still killing it? Are we going to find that out?
They're still killing it.
That's cool.
Had a little blip in June, but they're still killing it. But we're all still all good.
Yeah.
You know what? You know what though? They aren't worth the darn at posting in the chat. So today is National Day. There's 3 national days today. Can you believe it? It's National Scotch Day, National Chili Dog Day, and National Creme Brulee Day. And all I did was ask you to post in the chat which of the 3 you like. So get after it so we can get this thing kicked off.
I think I'm going to go with Scotch. I changed my mind.
Did you really?
I'm going to go with Scotch.
Chili dog from Jay's Hot Dogs.
I was thinking creme brulee, but I was like, no, I'm going to go with the Scotch.
You a Scotch drinker?
No, I just thought I just need one right now. Doing this show, I just need one.
Outstanding. There we go. Chili dogs all over it.
Who's out there? Manuel Collins having too much fun, man. Look at that. He's just having too much fun. Manuel Collins, I'm talking to you, man. Yeah, and whoever that guy with the big head next to you is also, man. I'm talking.
How about Team Greenville? I mean, check out them. You can't see them on your screen, but they're in the branch. I mean, what a setup. It looks beautiful in there.
Oh, very cool.
You know, the whole bunch of them in the room. I don't know who's all there, but post in the chat who's hanging out from Team Greenville. That's just outstanding.
By the way, you know who's going to kill it today? B. Rogers. Look at those glasses. Look at that neck popping with the head. He's like, yeah, I'm into this game.
Chili dog.
Doing it today.
Chili dogs are winning the day, Victor. Chili dogs are winning the day. There's Pat Murray. Pat Murray's our vice president of Orkin.
Is he?
He's tuning in. Yeah, he works for Pat.
Wow. Okay.
It's pretty cool.
We got a VP
watching us. We got a VP watching us. That's just crazy.
I feel so intimidated right now. The chili dog with a splash of scotch on the side. John Carter, my man. I think we can hang out together.
Chili dogs. I can't even imagine that.
Yeah, that's a different combination.
Oh, there's a blast from the past. Bobby Fouch is out there. Outstanding. Hey, Bobby.
Michael Jordan doesn't want to be seen, but he's showing us, I don't know, his spoon case collection or whatever he has back there.
I don't know. What branch is John Frisk coming from? Somebody post that up. That looks pretty cool, too. They're all together in the room there.
By the way, look at this one up here. Daniel Hyman, just an empty room.
Daniel has left the building.
He's like, screw this.
He has left the building.
I'll turn the camera.
James Washington is like, he's out. He's like off camera. Oh, there he comes. He's back in the fray.
Trey Locke. What's happening, Trey Locke?
Trey's looking
good.
That's
got a cool name, right? Trey Locke.
Johnny Davis, man. Johnny Davis had a monster day the other day. Like 35,000, wasn't it, Johnny?
Did he?
It was a crazy big day.
So in other words, Johnny was good?
Oh,
like Johnny be good?
Johnny be good. Johnny be good. Johnny be good.
Are we going to do numbers here?
Yeah, let's get into some numbers. I see April. I see Tim. I see some call center folks, and I'm going to give April some love in a moment, but we'll see. She's been wearing me out for a while.
Jason Sega.
So the first thing I want to kick it off with is just kind of some awareness that the call center sales and the inbound lead flow has just absolutely exploded.
Those numbers are monster, man.
I mean, so we've had $2 million is a big day at the call center. We've had probably historically like 20 of them, right? We've had 15 of those $2 million days in the last 3.5 weeks.
That's amazing.
So we got hammered in June with kind of lack of demand.
Yeah.
So our residential sales were down. But man, you talk about a bounce back.
Wow.
We've added so far this month 35,000 new customers.
I can't process.
I know.
Dude, I can't process. You added 35,000 customers
in like 21 days.
In 21 days.
Yeah, just think about that. Yeah. So we're going to talk about that a little bit in the broadcast,
amazing.
But I wanted to tee it off with that. I mean, historical levels of sales.
Yeah.
We had that blip last month. We're catching it up and we're blowing through it. So I do want to share some numbers with y'all, and I'll just take these and I'm going to focus again. This is the residential group, Victor. We had the commercial folks yesterday. I'm going to focus on some June numbers and then some year-to-date numbers. Kind of, I guess we're through 6 months, so we should talk through that. June, as I mentioned, we had a 7% decrease in residential PC sales, really impacted by the demand. If the phone doesn't ring, we're kind of hamstrung to kind of stir that up. I mean, our folks in the field do a nice job of chasing some of that business and adding mosquito sales and some other sales like that. But the good news is, like year to date, we're flat year over year. So hopefully this month, this July is going to put us ahead of last year. Obviously, it will put us ahead of last year. We're clipping along right now about 17% ahead of last year's July.
Nice.
So it's just really coming together. The good news, our mosquito sales were up 15% in June.
Okay.
So that continues to be the gift that just keeps giving. Year to date, we're up 22% with our mosquito sales. We look at our total termite sales. Our total termite sales for the first time in probably, I would say probably 4 years, didn't deliver a double-digit increase. We did have a 6% increase in June.
Right.
And you tie that in and you roll it all together for the 6 months, we're 19% ahead of our termite sales from last year. And again, we're built on the termite side of the house. We're building on record after record after record for 3-4 consecutive years. The ancillary sales are another great story. 25% up. We're going to talk a little bit about that later. 25% up for June, outstanding,
Big number.
and 29% up for the year. Termite bait, we slipped. Only 2%. We had a 2% decline in termite bait sales last month. So that's something we got to pay attention to and get back at.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was a slip. That was a slip.
Okay.
Because we're clipping along at 23% year to date.
Any theories on that one?
No.
Okay.
I wish I did. If I had that answer, we might not be in that bucket. But again, it was the first kind of miss. There were some regions and divisions and individuals, certainly we'll see in a minute, that had some crazy performances.
Right.
But we had an overall company-wide miss that was pretty impactful.
Okay.
Pretty impactful, and then affected the profits and all that.
Gotcha.
Our traditional termite was down 5%. We're up 7% year to date. So all in all, when you look at the numbers through 6 months, just really outstanding performance. Record-setting performances. Again, coming off really, really good history, which you can run great increases on crappy numbers, and you look like a hero. But these are great increases on really good performances last year. So,
well done,
and then to Mr. Murray's point, he's the guy that kind of counts all the numbers up, right, and make sure we're making money. We had a pretty significant miss on the profit side in June. But year to date, we're on both profit and revenue plans, which is just outstanding.
Did you get hammered last month? Did they hammer you?
No,
Pat call you up and go, what the heck is going on, Ed?
He's pretty patient. He's pretty patient. He was certainly excited.
What's going on, Ed?
Pat Murray could probably explain it better, but we got through it, and he weathered the storm, and it looks like we're going to turn in a really good month this month. So fingers crossed and toes crossed that it was just a little blip on the radar screen, and we're back in business.
I thought I was going to have to do this show by myself. That was my concern.
It might happen. A couple more of them, and I'll be showed the door. In addition to those outstanding, year-to-date performances, we had phenomenal individual performers in June. We had 36 folks, Victor, make that perfect mile, that 100,000, get paid on it.
Yep.
So what should we do?
Roll the video, Stormy.
Realize it feels so good just to be alive. Time's a gift, my time is free. I can spend it on you, you can spend it on me. I could say you'll be blown away by the change you see me. And I feel alright, dance all night, put a little flavor in my life. I put the good stuff in. I put the good stuff in. I put the good stuff in. Good stuff in every day.
Victor, for the first time all year, we have a new leader in the clubhouse. Dan Matthews out of Austin.
DM.
DM took the crown. $216,000 in sales.
That's a big number, man. Mark Jones right behind him.
So those two guys, Tyler, Mark, call him Tyler.
Yeah.
I should change it on the sheet.
Tyler.
Should do that moving forward.
Yeah.
But if you remember the first 6 months of the year, Tyler and Hassan have they've traded blows, kind of taking that crown.
Yeah.
Old Dan sneaks up on him this month and throws up 216,000. And we all know how that math works, right?
Yeah.
216 times 14%.
I can run numbers in my head. By the way, Hassan, still in there. Hassan is still in the hunt. Hassan is in the hunt.
It is going to be one interesting run as we get into the back half of this year to see who ends up the chairman of the Chairman's Club.
Yeah,
these guys are just slaying it.
Let me see who else is on here. We got Ricky, Kevin Myers, Christian Lacayo, Ray Brian Corpez.
The brothers are back.
Brothers are back.
The brothers are back.
Ray, let's up our game, man. Come on, man. Come on, Ray.
So Victor, before you get me in trouble again,
yeah, I love Ray.
I
love Ray.
We have a whole bunch of rookies on this list too.
Really?
So these folks here, I kind of highlighted them last night. We got Christian out of Virginia region. All these folks have been here less than 6 months.
Really?
less than 6 months. Christian, Jonathan Richards in Maryland.
Okay.
Richardson, I'm sorry, in Maryland.
Right.
Charles Stubbs in Indiana. Tim Lott in South Carolina. And Brandon Rogers, as you mentioned, in Michigan.
Yeah.
These guys all threw up the perfect miles.
Okay.
And they're relatively new.
Nice. So I had a feeling about B. Rogers, man.
You just knew.
I just knew B. Rogers.
You
Didn't
looked
even
at the
know.
list ahead of time, didn't you?
No, I did. By the way, Maryland is doing some good work here.
Yeah. So there's 4 regions
Yeah.
that had 4 winners.
Is it because politicians have more money?
I don't know about that.
My new thing.
So if you look at the 4 regions that had 4 representatives, certainly, as you said, Maryland, South Carolina,
Carolina,
Maryland.
Maryland.
I said that
Yeah,
already.
you did.
And Kentucky
Kentucky,
and Indiana.
Indiana. Yeah, there you go. Indiana. Wow.
Indiana,
Nice
that
numbers, by the
Indiana,
way.
Kentucky kind of section of the country,
Let me see. Let me
just
go through
smoking
some-
it. What else you
Got
see?
Nicholas, Marlon, Matthew. Yeah, good names on here. By the way, great numbers. Congratulations, guys.
30
Fantastic numbers.
36 winners, 17 regions. You know,
Yep.
we still keep talking about the same thing. It doesn't matter where you're at. You know, from New Jersey to California to South Florida, all through the footprint, all across,
not
you know,
a
the South
territory.
Central, the Midwest. It doesn't matter where you're at. You can throw up that perfect mile. And I see April out there, April Bunting. If I don't put these numbers in there, Victor, she's going to kill me. So every time we do this broadcast, she says, "Why don't you tell them who all the top sellers at the call center were?" I said, "Well, they're not on the call because they're on the phone trying to make money."
Yeah, April.
Yeah, April.
Yeah, so we don't.
But to get April off my back,
Okay.
April, if you would send it sooner, I could get him in the video.
Yeah.
But she shot me this thing like over the weekend. So
Yeah.
so these are crazy numbers.
Okay.
The top 4 sellers in the call center.
Okay.
Now they're all remote. They're all over the world.
Top 4 CCs. Here we go. Let's go.
Number 4, Jesse Casmer, $307,000.
Nice.
June, 1 month.
1 month.
Brad Richard, $309,000.
Okay.
Crazy.
Nice.
Michael Wentworth, $354,000.
354. Ooh.
Leading the way, this lady just rings the bell, baby.
Who is she? Who is she? Drum roll, please.
She's the old region admin assistant in the Kentucky region.
The old region admin.
She used to be the region admin. She used to be the kind of one that did
Okay.
all the books and
Yeah,
kept all the
yeah.
managers in line and kept the region manager in line. She said, "To heck with that, I want to make real money." She moved to the call center, I don't know, April, put it in the chat, maybe 2-3 years ago.
Okay.
And she's been the top performer there since she walked in the door.
Who are we talking about?
We are talking about Teresa Mobley with $388,000.
Teresa Mobley, you're slacking. You should have hit the 400,000. Teresa slacking. April, send her that message directly from me. Slacking. She should have hit 400,000. By the way, Jacob Johnson said this: Victor without Ed, I'll switch to Scotch. He actually said that. That dude actually said that.
I love Jacob.
I used to like him. Not anymore. Yeah, big congrats for Jason Sayer. Good names in here. Chad Jones. Even the flyover states, says Jacob Johnson. April says, thank you, Ed.
Amen. Amen.
you go.
Outstanding. So today, let's get into some content because we're about 10, 11 minutes into this thing. Let's get into some content. So we were talking yesterday, and I had a whole lot of thoughts going around in my head on what we should talk about today. And I kind of settled on these 35,000 customers that we've added. You know,
I'm just saying. I mean, I'm being genuine when
Yeah.
I say 35,000 new customers in a month.
new Orkin customers
mean-
buying our services.
I guess. Okay, I'll get off the impress bit here, but it's like you try to like onboard 35,000 people. You know,
Yeah.
that's a tribute to like the massive back office machinery that Orkin has
Oh,
to be able
yeah.
to manage that. That's
and the technicians going out and getting these starts done.
well, that's
you know?
what I mean.
just-
Everything from how it ripples out from the call center, got the order. Let's
Yep.
get, you know what I mean. You got the deals. Now we're going to send some. It's whoever's building the system is amazing.
Well, I mean,
it's an amazing system.
It's there's a ton of managers on the call here executing on that, and
Yeah, that's
certainly
amazing.
the call center does a great job. The marketing
Yeah.
team's making the phone ring.
That's what I'm saying. We say 35,000, but I mean, you got to really understand what that means.
Oh, yeah.
From a system standpoint, to be able to process that. That's an amazing accomplishment.
Just crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just nuts.
Yep.
You know, certainly we've got some contributing factors, right? We talked
Right.
about it yesterday. You know, it's hot as Hades everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so the weather is just. I was out with Judy Black. We were down visiting with Walmart. You know, our chief entomologist here,
Right.
and she's telling. You know,
Do you have a chief entomologist?
I don't know if that's her title. But
you have a
she's
chief
like,
entomologist?
She's like the entomology guru, but she's
Yeah.
in charge of that group. And talking about this this weather
Yeah.
brings the bugs in. It's so hot, even the bugs want to get out of this thing.
Yeah.
Right? So that's certainly happened, and that
Yeah.
continues to just keep rolling. So,
Yeah.
So what I thought we would talk about today is kind of our age-old approach to chasing business. You know, so probably for the last 3-4 months, our salespeople have been involved in what I call the red ocean. We'll talk about that a little bit. You know, where they're out there, they're getting termite leads. Folks are calling for termites. Those are starting to dwindle down a little bit.
Okay.
So now we're moving from that, I guess, that red ocean where, you know, the customer's getting 3 bids and you're just trying to slash each other up to get that little piece of fish, right?
Right.
Now we're into that mode now, particularly with these 35,000 new customers. We want you to go see all of them, right?
Right.
And what that creates is that blue ocean. So talk a little bit about that, and then we'll talk about how we get past some of that stuff.
Okay, so if you're not familiar with it, there was a book called Blue Ocean Strategy. It came out several years ago. A red ocean is where everything's hyper competitive, and as pointed out, you slash each other up, the waters get bloody, so to speak. So that's a red ocean environment. Blue ocean means you go to a space where there aren't that many competitors, or maybe a space, a white space, where basically a lot of your competitors aren't going. And so when we're talking blue ocean, we're talking about we've gotten the customers into the pipe, so to speak. They got to the call center, we got the first deal. Now it's time to send somebody out to do inspections to see if we can upsell them or cross-sell them on other services. That's where the blue ocean strategy really kicks in. And I want to highlight this. In the book, Mastering the Upsell, I talk about a study where that if you focus on existing customers, which these 35,000 now are, that if you just focused on expanding that business with your existing customers, you can grow your revenues up to 30%. And that, to me, is 30% of blue ocean is what we want, Ed.
Yeah, and when you think about that, you're in this dog-eat-dog kind of world, you know, on inbound leads. These customers, they're not calling. You're initiating that contact.
Right.
You're booking that appointment. You know, the old PC, no TC. That's been the lifeblood of the residential salesperson at Orkin forever. I mean, so you're introducing yourself into that. So you don't really have that competition. It's very rare that if you go out and uncover an issue or a problem or serve up a solution to a customer, you know, the pest control customer, that they're going to get bids. I mean, it happens it happens occasionally.
Right.
You know, you go out and you find a need for insulation and you pitch an installation. They may decide to get another bid, but most of the time, they either buy from us or they don't buy at all, right?
Gotcha.
So I think that's important, and I guess the message, the first piece of today's message is, man, we got to get all over those.
Yeah.
We got to get all over those. Those customers.
Can I ask, I don't mean to interrupt, but what is the typical cadence that you use? For example, let's walk through the call center.
Yeah.
So we got somebody in, they bought, right?
Yep.
And then what's the cadence? What's the next step? Is it like you wait, 30 days?
No.
What are the trigger points?
No, and we had this conversation on one of the previous broadcasts. When do I go? So if you think about it, the call center sells it, it's going to get started in the next few days, right? You know, depending on the ability at the branch level and what the customer even wants.
Right.
You know, they say I may want it done on Saturday, so we get that start executed.
Right.
Oftentimes there's if we had a pool on, we might even want to put it in the chat. When do you want to go? When do you want to go visit that PC no TC? A lot of folks want to go when the start's being done.
Right.
Or a lot of folks like to wait until it's been done, so they could say, "Hey, Victor, it's Ed over at Orkin."
I guess that's what I was asking. Yes.
Yeah, it's Victor over at Orkin. I'm just going to swing by and do your home inspection as part of your program and check on the work that Bill did.
So what do you see the balance is? Most people do it after the work.
Put in the chat.
Okay, put in the chat. Okay, put in the chat. What do you do?
During the start or after the start? Just put in the chat what you think. Day of the start. We got a whole bunch of that stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know that there's a right answer to that.
Right.
I just know that we got to go see 35,000 customers.
Right.
Right. And I don't care when you go. I mean, you know, you can get crazy busy on your schedule. Maybe you can't be there that day. But what's happening here? We got
just a few day of the start as soon as possible. Says iPad for everyone.
Awesome.
Can't be two places at once, so do both within a week. Early touches. Michelle, I agree with that. I think the earlier you can touch them.
Yep.
I guess my preference would be is that if they start it, they've had it. Maybe wait a couple of days after the start. That would be me.
Yeah, you know, I'm not going to vote
like
James Billingsley. 3
yeah,
to 5
I go
days.
with James.
Yeah.
I like James within 3 or 5 days after the start, I would say.
If I had a preference, I might do it that way too.
Yeah.
But again, we're not trying to make any statement on when you should go. We just know you should go. You should go.
By the way, Sean Wagner says, so 25K of dry zone yesterday. Start is going today.
So he beat it.
Good.
He beat this. He beat the,
Yep.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Well done, man. Well done, man.
During the start, double value showing. Yeah, so if you think about it, you got 2 people showing up. Yeah.
Interesting, yeah.
Again, whatever it is, you know, sometimes it's not possible to make it same day. But
by the way, his second part was it's mostly one-legged. You'll need to follow up with three
Could
days.
be. Yeah.
Yeah. Why do you guys use one leg?
I know you
confuse.
drives you crazy.
Look, everybody shows up with 2 legs, okay? So it's either a 2-legged call or a 4-legged call. There is no 1-legged call unless everybody's going to go pogo hopping in there.
We're going to organize you. This has been around since I started in '83.
Well, it's 2 legs. It's
a
not
one-legged
1 leg.
proposal is you only have one part of the buying power.
A one-legged.
You have a husband there, or you have a wife there. You don't have the, so we call it, don't do one-leggers. No one-leggers.
They're
No
four-leggers.
I know, but
All right.
come on, Victor, it's been ingrained into this
All
company
right,
since,
it's one-legger. Okay,
since
okay.
80s.
But anyway, go before. Lots of my sales come from this. Interesting. Zach says that. Go before.
Yeah, I know a lot of people do that as well. You know, if it's scheduled for Wednesday, they'll call up.
It would be great, and I know we don't have that, but
Yeah.
one day it'd be great to figure out, what the real numbers say. Before, as Zach is pointing out, right, day of, or 3
and
days.
figure out that math.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got the data. It'd be interesting to extract that one day.
You know, with the RFS scheduling, I know you guys are in charge of some of your own scheduling. There's other folks helping in different regions. Somebody's helping them with their schedules. But by goodness, get these new starts on your schedule, and just get out there, shake some hands. The one thing that's happening right now is the bugs. J.R. Rodriguez, the bugs we talked about yesterday. The bugs are doing their job.
Yep.
They're out making that phone ring. They're out there around. So if you get out there to get active in your market. Go see as many of these as you can, because you'll find problems. You'll find issues. You know, if you walk around the outside of a house today and you turn over some mulch, if you don't find termites, I mean, there's a high likelihood that you're going to find termites this time of year, rather than trying to do this PC no TC in the middle of December in Minnesota.
Right. I got you.
So think about that. So while we talk about this is really what I want to get to, because we talked about this yesterday about. So we go out there, we do our job, we kill it, we do the perfect proposal on this PC no TC, right? If you think about it, what's missing oftentimes with the PC no TC when you're going out to see these, it's not like that termite lead where they got termites in their kid's bedroom and they're swarming out of the baseboard and they're gonna do something.
Right.
So the whole mount nut kind of scenario, we don't want to talk about that today, but the urgency's there, they're gonna buy from somebody, right?
Right.
Oftentimes with these PC no TCs, you may serve up I may serve up insulation to you. I come down out of your attic and I say, Bubba, you gotta, I want to share a couple things I found. I did your home inspection. You're way under insulated. But in all likelihood, you probably knew that already, right?
Right.
So how do I get you to call to action? And oftentimes what happens, more than any other thing that happens, it's not really an objection, it's a stall.
Right.
Because they're an Orkin customer. They don't want to be mean to you. They don't want to be rude. They don't want to tell you that you sucked, right? They don't want to tell you that you didn't do everything right.
Right.
But let's make the assumption that you did everything right. What you hear most of the time is, Victor, I love it. It makes sense. I want to think about it.
Right.
And so we had this conversation yesterday about I want to think about it. And I think most of you know, I chase like every sales guru out there, and that's why he's in front of you, because I think he's the best. And all these new dudes are coming out with all these, I want to think about it, how to overcome that stall.
Right.
And it's verbatim what you say, right? And so Victor and I were talking about, I said, these dudes are stealing all your stuff. He said, all you got to do is go look at the date.
Yeah.
The date the video was posted. So,
That's okay.
you got Brad Lee, you got Andy Elliott, you got Jeremy Minor. You even had Jeremy Minor on a podcast, and he's still stealing your stuff, right?
Imitation is the highest form of
There
flattery,
you go.
they say.
But and even Dan Lauk, right? And it's all the
Yeah.
stuff that you get served up when you get out on
Right.
YouTube aggressively. But let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Let's break that whole thing down and how we funnel it. So take it from there.
So, one of the pushbacks we get is, let me think about it. And again, to challenge the customer, I often hear the response, well, what do you have to think about? What do you need to think about? What can I help you think about? And again, those are very, I'll say, not aggressive styles, but they're very, you're not being connected with the client, so to speak. In other words, as soon as I question why you have to think about it, the customer gets on defense. So here's what you want to do. The way the brain works is that we love options. We really do. And once you give me an option, I can kind of flow my conversation. So when someone says, let me think about it, the standard line I have is, Mr. Client, Mr. Customer. When someone says they have to think about it, it's usually because they're not interested, or they're interested but not sure. Which one is it? Not interested, or you're interested but you're not sure. Which one is it? And people will tell you. Now, if they say they're not interested, then you can go down the rabbit hole and say, stop selling, so to speak, and ask them, well, what is it that you're not interested in, in terms of, let's say, insulation? What's holding you back? And again, you're not trying to sell, because once they say they're not interested, they basically told you, I don't want to buy. But in the majority of cases, I say 9 out of 10 times, I say, yeah, I'm interested, but I'm just not sure. And at that point, you begin the option funneling system again. Mr. Customer, I'm glad you said you're interested. And when people say they're not sure, it's usually one of 3 things. The first one is maybe you don't see this product that we offer as a fit, which in this case, if it's insulation, it's a fit. They go, no, that's it, it's a fit. Well, maybe there's some feature. That's the second part. There's a feature that we're missing or something we didn't show you. And then the last part of if they say, no, the feature's fine, it works for me, I can see how it would work, then I have to assume the third part, which is finance. Is that it? In other words, money. And the reason I love that, and you can organize that, Ed, because again, you talk about high level, right?
Absolutely.
It's feature, function, fit, or
But
finance.
just think
rather.
about it, even in the very beginning, right? So 35,000 customers we're going to out and visit. We're not going to, if we sell 10,000 of them, it's a home run, right?
Right.
So 20,000 of them aren't going to buy
Right.
easily, right? So I think what that does when you tee it up with, typically when I hear that, either you're interested or not interested or interested but not interested or interested but not sure.
Correct.
If you tee that up, what you do immediately, what I love about it, is you clear the deck.
You just do this.
You give them the opportunity to say,
Yeah.
well, I'm not really interested. So you can move on.
Right.
And you can quit driving yourself crazy thinking about what did I do wrong.
Or the time wasted with the follow-ups.
Yeah.
If they're not interested, they're simply not interested.
And that's cool. I would rather have somebody tell me, no, I'm not going to buy that,
Right.
than say, I want to think about it, or I'm going to think about it, or call me in 2 weeks, give me some BS line. Because I think what happens psychologically, they don't want to tell you they're not going to buy it.
Right.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
they're not going to say, Victor, I'm not buying that. I wouldn't
I
buy
want
that in a
that.
million years.
Right.
But if you tee it up and say, they're either not interested or they're
Yeah.
interested, and they say, well, I'm really not interested in that. So done, right?
You're done. We're done.
You're done.
And as soon as you can create that rapport, because it doesn't have to be aggressive, right? It could be very simple rapport. Say, not interested, or you're interested but not sure. Which one is it?
Exactly.
Very casual.
Very soft, very
soft.
smooth.
Yep.
You're not pressing them. I see it all the time when I'm out with folks, because I'll role play with guys.
Right.
I was role playing last week with salespeople and asking them, hey, I want to think about it, and it was just, they
hiccup.
didn't know what to do.
Yep.
They typically the most inexperienced salespeople, and even experienced salespeople will attack that. Well, what is it you want to think about?
Right.
How much time do you need to think about
And
it?
that comes across as like
Oh,
you're questioning
salesy
or
as
aggressive.
heck.
Yeah.
Salesy as heck. The other thing that I think this funneling aspect of it does is it keeps you from fishing, right? It keeps you from trying to guess what it is, right?
Right.
You've limited it to 3 buckets, so you're going to pin that down, and you're going to, I guess the best term would be to isolate
That's what
the
you're doing.
issue is, right? You're
It's-
just
is it a
funneling
fit?
down. Instead of saying,
Feature.
was it the price? You didn't
Yeah.
like what I said?
Yeah.
You didn't do this?
I've seen that, by the way, a lot.
I've got the wrong color hair.
Yeah.
I don't have any hair.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff that
Yeah.
we tend to start fishing on, when if you just perfect this process.
Yeah. And by the way, that little sequence, not interested, interested but not sure. I'm interested but I'm not sure. Okay, I'm glad you're interested.
Yeah.
Do you see this as a fit? Yeah. Or is it the features? Or is it the finance? And
What's
I
more,
always thought, and remember, those are the 3 F's, but I want to emphasize the last one. And that is typically if they go, no, Victor, it is a fit. Yeah, I can see the functionality of it. Obviously, it'll work. It's not the finance. I have the money.
Yep.
I always tell people there's a 4th F, and that's fear.
Yep.
Something in your presentation scared them off. You said something or didn't say something that just scared them off, and it's figuring that part out.
And I think that you can flush that out then.
Yeah.
If they click yes, no.
Yeah. If you get 3 yeses on and it's not the finance,
what-
something is scaring them.
What's really holding you back?
Yeah.
What's
and,
really holding you back?
and that's where you have to kind of be a little more direct.
Yeah.
What's really holding you back?
Amen.
And it's okay to say no.
No, and I just love that whole process, and that's in the client says, and that's a PDF book, and I couldn't find it last night, so you're
Okay.
gonna have to have Camille resend that to me, and
Okay.
I will put that I'll put that in an email to everybody.
Yeah.
That's included in the client says. It has client says this, client says that. It's a whole book based on if the client says this, you say this, and it's all scripted out.
Correct. Everything's scripted out.
So yeah,
Every objection you can get, I've scripted something out. All you have to do is organize it.
Yeah. And again, we served this up, a few times. But again, we've got 100 new salespeople out
Right.
there
Wow.
that didn't see this the first time we talked about it. So I guess kind of twofold. Funnel that objection. Don't get defensive. Like, when salespeople hear, I want to think about it, man. It's like the hair on their neck goes up and they like want to leap across
Because
the
they
table.
don't know what to say.
Yeah.
And and again, customers can sense that. So the 2 big points are all these calls coming into the call center.
Yep.
We got all this blue ocean, which means there's a lot of opportunities to sell some other stuff, right?
Amen.
And again, because we have so many, the reason we're talking about, I'll think about it, I just want to reiterate that so we all understand we're on the same page, is that we want to kind of chop through these leads as fast as possible, or these new
Yeah.
customers. Interested,
Yep.
not interested,
Yep.
and let's go sell.
Absolutely.
Okay.
What else is in the check? Because I got quite a bit of.
What about when they
So
want?
there's our guy Sire, right? I mean, this guy just gets it, man. 100% of the starts that don't get run and visited won't get sold. So if you don't go see one of them 35,000, that one ain't gonna get sold,
That's correct.
right? Outstanding.
What about Celeste has a good question here. I'll give you this one. What
Who's
about
that? Where's that
when
at?
Celeste Curley says, what about when they want you to show them the holes and the gaps you are closing? They can then steal your work and DIY it. do it themselves.
God bless them.
God bless
That would be my, and Celeste
Yeah.
is a star,
Yeah.
right? She's a
Yeah.
$1 million producer. You know, at the end of the day, you know, I see it all the time. You know, the customer's going to do it themselves. Well,
Right.
they're going to die trying.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, without having an Orkin Pro, if they're trying to go through an exclusion process like we do,
Right.
they're going to probably fail. Even
Yeah.
if they got a break in their garage, they're using old aluminum cider.
Right.
I don't know that we fuss with that. Why am I not seeing that? Where did Celeste?
I don't know.
Maybe I went out again. I don't know.
Dave
else?
Tipton says, sometimes no is the second best answer you can get.
I'd rather have them tell me no.
I hear you, man.
Again.
That should be on a plaque somewhere. That should be on a plaque somewhere. Yeah, that's a great statement.
It just clears the deck so you can move on.
Yeah, and I think for the new salespeople, I think it's important to let them know you're going to get no's.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Moving on. Next.
Yeah.
That's the mindset.
You know, and you know, from checking in salespeople years ago as a sales manager, you know, I feel good about this one, boss. You know, next week, what about that Antonio guy?
I still feel good
he's
about
coming. You know, and if he had just done his work, he said, you know, he told me no, he's not going to buy.
Yeah.
Right. We could quit wasting time. I think
Yeah.
wasting time might be the right, not the right terminology,
Right.
but clearing the deck mentally for you, it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm not buying that.
Yeah, I think the sooner you get, somebody said this to me, and I love to attribute this because it is not mine, but he said something, many companies, and I think Orkin fits, we don't have an opening problem, we have a closing problem.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really interesting perspective. In other words, we got customers coming in, we
Yep.
just need to go close them. Let's sift through them.
Yeah, absolutely.
35,000, that's a lot of sifting.
And they're all not going to buy.
Yeah.
They're all not going to buy. I think that's the end game, right? You know,
Yeah.
if we close 25% of these PC no TC creatives, you're hitting a home run and you're going to President's Club.
big
I mean,
numbers.
you're crushing it.
Hey, by the way, do we have an updated number on conversions, like, conversion rates? Have you guys looked at that yet? Closing rates in general?
Yeah, they're out there in each
Okay.
individual
Okay.
region.
Okay.
And I think most of our salespeople know their closing rates.
Okay.
Right? Even by particular segments of business.
What is our Orkin metric, let's say for residential?
Residential inbound calls.
Yeah.
The call centers push their goal is 60, and,
Right.
and they're getting close to that. Yeah,
That is amazing.
They're getting close to that.
60% close rate.
Yeah,
Way to go.
Inbound leads, we should be closing 60% or higher,
Nice.
right in that
I love it.
area.
I love it.
So no, just
All right.
outstanding. I've got some, I guess, some housekeeping that might take a minute, and I really want to focus on RAC and clear up some misnomers that may be floating around out there. And I experienced one last week or 2 weeks ago with Marty Cotter and Steve Genther up in Ohio, when one of the salespersons was saying, "Hey, I got charged back on an RAC sale," and I was like, "You couldn't have. That couldn't happen." And I was wrong, right? So, but here's what's happening. We've always, forever and a day, charged back RAC sales, the renewals that can't be collected, and it's a legal thing. So let's say you sell a 5-year deal and the customer either defaults or they move or they sell their house. Let's say they quit paying their bill in the first year. They just quit paying like people do. If they do that in the first year, you won't get charged back on any of the service. So if it was a $10,000 service that you had, you will get charged back on the renewals of, if there's $300 renewals for 4 years, they will charge you back on those $1,200 worth of renewals because they can't legally collect that. So let me clarify that for that poor fellow up in Toledo that was the salesman that we were talking with in that meeting, Stephen. And yes, you can get charged back on RAC. There's 2 ways it can happen. Either the customer, we don't deliver the service, which is very rare. We usually fix that. But the one that kind of pops out there is if they end the contract, they move, they sell the house, or they quit paying their bill before those renewals are earned, we don't have any legal right to go collect that money. So we're going to come back and get it from you. So don't just know that that's a case. The other conversations I've had over the last 2 or 3 weeks, or conversations I've had with some high producers and some folks that were struggling with the interest rate, and our interest rate's too high, it's too high, it's too high. And when you think about it, if you think about today's world, our interest rate today, depending on where you're at, it's different everywhere. It's basically state minimums or state maximums that we're allowed to charge. If you're in Arkansas, it's like the lowest rate, it's under 10. Legally, you can't charge any more interest than that. But most of them are in the 18 to 22% interest rate. And so you get some questions from the salespeople, can we lower the interest rate? We're really not going to lower the interest rate, but I think if the best way to handle that, and I had a conversation again with one of our top RAC producers about that, is to tell them, look, we're not in the banking business. We're not that kind of outfit. Yes, you can probably go get that money cheaper, but a credit card's going to cost you 20, 23%, and that's compounded interest. And our interest is simple interest. So you tee it up with the interest at REC and the tool that we have, we're a convenience tool. We put this in place to help folks that are hit with unexpected expenses be able to purchase and fix the problems that they have in their home. We're not in the banking business. Yeah, sure, I get it, Mr. Customer. I'm sure that interest rate's high. You know, you could probably get better at your credit union or at the bank. And I think if you approach it that way when you get questioned on the interest rate, number one, it's less than they're going to pay on their credit card. I think that's the first thing. And number two, yes, you can get money cheaper than that. There's no doubt that you can. You can go out and search that home equity. Anything like that would certainly help you. So maybe that helps you spin through that pushback. Oh my gosh, that's 22% interest. Because at the end of the day, when you finish out that contract and you financed it for 60 months, you know, that says right on there the total of interest they're going to pay. So think about that and work your way through that. So hopefully that helps.
I like that, by the way. I think that whole monologue you just did there, we should find a way to script that a little bit.
Yeah, and I thought about that.
That was well said.
It just came up recently, and again, it was one of our high flyers. You know, that I spent an hour on the phone with them.
I love the way you framed it, though. The way you framed it and the way you walked through it. I think that'd make a great script, by the way.
Yeah, we're not.
I'm actually paying you a compliment, Ed.
Thank you, Victor. That's very
Yeah.
rare. That's very rare.
But
again, we're just the overarching thought process there is we're not in the banking business. We're in the business of convenience, trying to get you to help get these jobs done. And if we get you set up 90 days, same as cash, you'll have 90 days to go find cheaper money. So certainly feel free to do that. And again, if you start to make the payments and you decide you want to pay it off, it's simple interest and learn how to walk through that. So based on the conversations I've had as I've traveled around lately, I'm going to do some more of that kind of stuff. And I talked to Terry Groff at length the other day about some of that stuff. The other piece is there's a misnomer out there that there's no interest accrued. First off, there's no interest accrued on 90 days, same as cash, until the payment's due. Then the interest starts to trigger. But if it's taken as standard, right, be it 30 or 45 days, whenever you click that payment, interest accrues from the day the job is done. So don't get caught up in that pocket. So if they pay it off in 30 days or whatever, they're still going to have a small amount of interest. And so we've had a couple things push back on that, and that's just clarification. You know, what they used to do at REC is they used to take a manual write-off on that. They're not doing that anymore because they've automated the system and they can't do it, right? So got some conversation going on with Terry about how we can make that 30 days same as cash. You know, it's going to cost you a little bit. But again, those folks that don't qualify for 90 days, their credit risk is a little bit lower. So we got basically a beacon score that we use, Victor, that says, okay, your credit is above, I think it's 660 or whatever, 700, whatever, that you can get 90 days same as cash. If it's below that, we'll finance you on regular terms, and if it's below X, we're not going to take it all.
Gotcha.
We're not going to take it all.
Makes sense.
And just to clarify one more thing on REC, and then I swear we'll get out of here. The adjustment that was made where we raised the score for standard, we took that up, I think, 25, 30 points. I just want you to understand that only represents 2% of our purchases nationwide across the country last year, and actually the 2 years previous to that. So we raised the score because what was happening is we were losing our tail. You know, the people below that mark in that little window that we used to grant credit to weren't paying their bills. So we bumped it up. We raised the bar a little bit. And so, you know, a whole lot of noise in the field. Oh my God, you raised the bar. But again, just to remind you, it's only 2% of the customers that we wrote. So yeah, we basically took 2% of our market out of the ability to finance.
Gotcha.
Out of the ability to finance.
Gotcha.
And the last thing that I want to tell you is that in most markets, you're the only game in town. You know, there's some Terminex folks that are doing some financing. There's some Terminex, you know, but most of your competitors, if you get right down to it, it's a gun that you have in your bag that just says, hey, you don't have to pay me, Victor. Pay me when you're happy.
Gotcha.
And in 90 days, I'll have a chance to come out and check it. The whole REC spin, which you all know very well. So, so I think that's enough on that right now.
By the way, 2 questions here. I don't know if you want to handle them now.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, is there an updated final list for REC contest? Question mark. Rollins 1 still shows April numbers. That's Sean Wagner.
Yeah, Sean, I saw it yesterday. It's been released to the RSMs and the sales managers. Talking with Terry, they're gonna announce the winners. You're one, by the way, just so you know. I don't know where you stand, but you're certainly a winner. So we'll see you in DC. But yeah, that'll come out soon. I had a chance to preview it 2 days ago. So Terry's working through that, and they're going to send the notifications out as you guys are used to getting.
Last one. Kevin Miller, can standard be paid off when bill comes no interest?
No, that's just what I said. That is not the case.
Got
that standard is not. Standard's kicking interest from the day the job's done. The day the job's done. So again, that's the piece that I'm working with Terry on to see if we can get that worked out.
Gotcha.
And he's willing to kind of meet us at that. So
okay,
cool. we got to figure it out because it's the legalities of banking and
right.
And you know the credit card itself kind of concept. So we'll leave it at that. Okay. 2 more things: hydrate, 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 hydrate. Focus on your Skeeter sales. Thank you for an outstanding first half. I mean, just outstanding first half. And as we close out the month, Victor, we don't need any sandbagging at the end of July here. Dump it in. Get it in. If you got ink, get it in the system.
Gotcha.
No sandbaggers allowed.
Okay.
All right?
Message
Again,
message
thanks
delivered.
a lot. Anything else?
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Have a great day.